Hello, everyone. Welcome to I don't even know what number we're on. Well, welcome to the Midseason report of PaokTalk. We are your hosts, Angelo and Jono. Jono, it's been a while. How's everything with you?
Hey man, yeah, I'm doing well. It has been a while, but excited to be back and yeah, do a bit of a mid-season review and chat about all things Park. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we've been away for a while. We've still, me and Jono, we've kept in touch. We just haven't been able to record stuff due to just conflicts. But hopefully, we'll be bringing a couple episodes a month. We'll see what the future holds. But basically, we just wanted to get together today to kind of talk about the season, how it's been going. Um, Last year I think we did a report card kind of thing. We're not going to do that as much. We're going to kind of keep it simple. We're just going to talk about um, how the season's gone domestically and in Europe, and then possibly what we could look forward to, and what needs to happen in order to have a successful second half of the season. So, John, do you want to just start off with talking about the domestic league and how that's been shaping up so far?
Yeah, so I mean overall, disappointing to be 13 points back off top spot already. Essentially for us, the league title, the title race is over. We started the season a little well. We lost our first game to Ghana, and then we won a string of games by playing badly, which wasn't a bad thing. Um, there's always something to be said for winning, for finding ways to win when you don't play well. And then yeah, we obviously coming out of the November international break, we had that little run earlier this month and late November where we lost three on the bounce. Tromitos Aris and Ionikos, and that essentially is what derailed our title challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we've just come off the Asteras game and won the next three, which has been good. It's kind of got us back on track a little bit. I think qualifying in Europe too has helped ease a little bit of the noise and the rumblings from the fans. So, I mean, overall, you can't be satisfied having lost 5 games out of 15 in the first half of the season. But yeah, I mean, I guess if there is a positive, it's that we've won the last three and we seem to have put that form slump behind us. Even though our performance today against Asteras wasn't great, we found a way to win. So that was encouraging. But overall, I mean, I'm not too encouraged or happy with the first half of the season. How about you? Did you think that the title was a realistic goal, or are you not surprised to see us this far back this early?
Um, Coming into the season, obviously, you play and you see how it goes, and we didn't get that much better on paper. But you would, and I think we talked about it off the air and talked about like where we want to be maybe at the halfway point. And I think we said something like within 3 games, or I think we said within 9 points, something along those lines. Um, you know, so I was hoping that we would be within that range. Given a 3 game, 9 point spread. Obviously, right now it is a lot more. 13 points back, and I think Olympiacos is a much better team on paper, and they're showing it for sure. And and what bothers me the most, I think, is just the way that we're playing. And I know a lot of PAOK fans are very upset and calling it boring soccer. You could get the results. We found a way to win 9 games, um, but like you said, it's just been a a bad style. It hasn't looked good. We've relied on a couple last minute goals, last 10-minute goals. Um, we've relied on a couple penalties, and I think that just the way that the creativity is still lacking. Um, we've had free kick goals, just goals in the run of play. I'd love to see. We scored 31 goals this year, which is the most in the league actually. But
Mm.
how much of that is from the actual run of play? I would love to see if that's a thing that we could see, because we had a lot of penalties. I think we have 5 or 6 penalty goals, a couple free kick goals right there. So that brings it down automatically to, say 20 or so. And I'm not counting corner kicks, anything like that. But I think, the second half of the year, and we'll talk about that, in a couple minutes. But, I would say that I'm not happy with the domestic league, how we've been. we're closer to fifth place than we are first place. We're closer to sixth place than we are first place. So I think it's kind of a dangerous position to be in. Do I think that we're gonna finish fifth or sixth? No, but you know, I haven't liked what I've seen on the pitch so far.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and it's an interesting point you raise about the goals that we've scored in terms of the number. We have had a few penalties, but I mean, like you said off air, when you attack and when you get in the box, you're going to get penalties. VAR's around now, so I mean, you win
Right.
penalties. They are kind of, they are like there are games where you're like, we're never going to score, and then you get a bit of a break, you win a penalty, and you're able to get a goal.
I think
Yeah,
we could even say we earn a penalty, right? Because a lot of the times you earn it, whether it's so yeah.
yeah,
It's not like we're given calls, right? I think it's being earned, and I think I like the term winning them as well because that's what we're doing.
yeah, I agree. And we've even missed, if you remember, in the Volos game, we missed one in that 4-all, missed a penalty in that one. So I think we've actually had like quite a few more, but we've scored a few. But anyways, regardless, the fact that we've scored 31 goals in 15 games for obviously an average, this is in the league, obviously, an average of just over two. Um, like Lutsescu, when he came and was successful with us, the interesting column is the goals conceded. We've conceded 20. He built our title on stern defense, not giving up goals. And they do say that, right? That like defense wins you championship. So for me, our issue has been more so on the defensive side because I think we score enough, we create enough.
Yeah, out
Generally,
of 14 teams, I think I just looked. There's only one, two, three, four teams that are worse than us in terms of getting up goals.
and I
Yeah,
think that has been our excuse me, that has been our issue this season has been we leak goals like no matter, and we're not talking about even in games where we don't give up a lot of chances. We're just in that place where first chance, first goal, like second chance, second, like another goal, and you're like Jesus, like when we have to actually defend just for a sustained period, we can't, and we give up goals. So I think that's been our biggest issue. I think we've also scored more because we've had to, because we've been leaking more. So the teams had to play open for longer periods of the game.
yeah,
And when you get a game like today, like a 3-2, where we went behind, so we had to push on. We took the lead, scored twice. They equalized again, and so then you have to keep chasing goals because you keep leaking goals. So I think if you asked Lutsescu and he answered honestly, I think he'd say that he's not happy with the style and probably stems from defense. I think he'd much rather keep it tight and not spend a lot of the game behind on the scoreboard. But yeah, another interesting thing you said, I think that the team is worse this year than last year. I think we've lost some key players who weren't really replaced or have been replaced by guys who have been injured or just haven't quite stepped up. Like you look at, Kremenci, Guarda, Solis, they were like three starters last season, and the guys that have come in haven't really been able to fill those shoes. So I think our team is a little bit worse off than last season.
yeah. And I looked at our recent history. So we have 5 losses right now. We haven't had 5 losses or more in a season since the 2016 season, and that's when we had 6 losses. So on paper, this is one of the worst seasons we've had in 7 years. The last time we've lost more, because I think we're going to lose more than one game, right? It's inevitable for the rest of the year. So in 2015 we lost 8 games, and we finished in fourth. We were 13, 9, and 8. So historically, one could argue this is the one of the worst season in 10 years in terms of domestically.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, no, so far, and I think in that well, in all those seasons you're looking at, they were shorter seasons, so they weren't like, or the playoffs was like a separate sort of thing.
Right.
Then, whereas now they kind of the playoffs roll into the league, so
Mhm.
um, we'll have 36 league games as opposed to like other years where there was less and the playoffs was kind of a different competition altogether. But look, it hasn't been great. But I mean, it hasn't really happened. But I noticed that you posted something on Twitter about Kagawa. He obviously got released over the weekend, and I think it needs to be a rebuilding. We have a lot of aging stars or players, kind of still clinging on to that double winning season, and there obviously needs to be a clean out, and I don't know if that's going to start in January, but it needs to happen this season or at the
Agreed.
end of this season.
Yeah, if we're gonna settle for being this year third place, fourth place, then yeah, I think that we need to play the younger kids, get some prospects in for the next few seasons. Because I mean, like you said, first place is not happening. Second place obviously can still happen, but with second, third, and I think fourth all making the conference league, it really doesn't matter ultimately. Um,
Mm.
so let's move to we mentioned the conference league, so let's move to Europe. Obviously, we advanced and we are in the knockout playoff round. We have a match up with Midtjylland. I'm sure if there's any Dane that's listening, they're gonna critique me. What do you think? How do you think the European term has gone?
Yeah, well, it was good to qualify. Obviously, it would have been great to top the group and go straight into the round of 16. Yeah, unfortunately, it didn't happen. Losing to Copenhagen at home probably cost us top spot in the end. And we actually didn't play badly that game. It's one of we've had a handful of games this season where we've played well, um, which has been encouraging. But I mean, for the most part, we haven't been great. But yeah, Copenhagen at home was actually one of our better performances, and we probably deserved at least a draw, if not a win, really,
Mm-hmm.
based on the play and the chances. So that was the game that probably cost us top spot in the end. Um, it was good to just get through because when we played Lincoln about a week and a half ago in Tumba, we were severely out of form, and I was a little bit worried that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Lincoln is like essentially a semi-professional or amateur team, but our form was so poor. I was a little bit worried.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, we won and got through. So I mean, I'm happy with that. I'm happy that we're through. It's good to be playing Europe for the first time into the new year for the first time since 2016-17 season. So that's definitely a positive, and I think it's something that the fans can look forward to, that us fans can look forward to. It's something that the club can look forward to, and I think it's good for the players too to have that kind of carrot that you have a European knockout game coming. I think it's a big deal, and yeah, I'm happy with it. Yeah, how about yourself? Are you satisfied with second place in that group?
Yeah, I think that term, the word you just said right there is would suffice. Satisfied. Am I happy? That I think we could have done better. I think we had a chance to top the group. But then you look at Copenhagen, what they did. They finished. They were second out of the most points in the group stages behind Lask. So they obviously have a good team. But not beating Slovan, that hurt. If I would have loved to go into that last game still with an opportunity to get first, that I would have been happy at. But ultimately we did succeed. Our goal, and I know we talked about it. I'm not sure if we talked on air or off, but we talked about how our goal should be to advance to the knockout stages, which we did. We got coefficient spots for us. We got coefficient spots or points for Greece as well. So it was good, and I think that our draw, and I know we talked about immediately after. I would say it's a tricky one. There's teams that were worse that we could have gotten, and there were teams that were better. Um, Midtjylland, I believe last time I checked, they were in first place in their league. I know that they have a break coming up, though. I'm not sure if they held first
Yeah,
place or not.
yeah, they are top of the table in Denmark, and they've started their winter break, and their first competitive game back will be against us. So that might work in our favour. The fact that they'll be coming off just, I guess, like a mini preseason, no competitive football.
Yeah, no, that's huge news. I think, yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens, and I know that we talked too that our next draw might be easier depending on who wins and who loses, due to the first place teams being there. So teams like Feyenoord, AZ, you have Roma, Ghent, Lask, um, Copenhagen. I'm not sure if we'll be able to be matched up with them again. I don't know how those rules work. Renee, then Basel. So I mean, we'll see. I think everything now we're just playing with house money. I think depending on who we bring in for the January transfer window will determine how we do. I think with this team right now, I don't think there's a shot of defeating them of Michelin. We're going to have to go in there and get a result I believe the first game is in Denmark, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so I mean, we go there and lose 2-1, draw 1-1, whatever it is we need to score ultimately, because we know our defense. We talked about it. We're not going to be able to keep a clean sheet, especially
Mm.
home or away. So I think that's big. What would you give our chances?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that it's kind of a middle of the road draw. I think Midtjylland's a good team, and I think some people or some fans just reading on reading around and listening to a bit of radio out of Saloniki are a little bit dismissive of them because of the name. Like they've never necessarily heard of Midtjylland, but Midtjylland played Champions League last season. And you just need to look at the rankings. Like Greece has slid to in and around where Denmark is ranked, so a top two team in Denmark is going to compete with the top two team or top three team in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that it'll be a tricky game. I give it about 60-40 Midtjylland's way. I think that they are favourite. As strange as that might sound to some people, I think that they are favourite. The good thing we have is that we have time. We have about 6-7 weeks until the first leg. So transfers, which I know that we'll touch on in a second. Who are we going to bring in? Our form will hopefully improve by then. Our results have already improved. Hopefully, our form and our overall play improves, and we're just in a better patch of form heading into those games, because I think it would be big to knock them out and then continue into the round of 16. I think it would be huge for the team, and especially in a year where the league is over so early, at least for us. It'll be nice to have a European run, and I think it's a key way to salvage the season is to knock out Midtjylland and to keep going in the Conference League.
Yeah. So you mentioned the transfers. What positions would you bring in? Who would you, or who maybe are you expecting them let go, or who would you be fine with them letting go of the major players, in order for us to have a successful second half of the year?
Yeah, so we definitely need a couple of players. It's interesting with players leaving. So I know a lot of the older guys are out of contract at the end of the season. So Bizvar, Crespo, excuse me, Varela, Vieirinha. Vieirinha is kind of a different level to those other guys in
Right.
terms of legend and that sort of thing. There's been some reports that Varela might actually be gone in January because of a little thing that's happened. I don't know if you've heard his son. Plays on the youth team, and he's apparently going to sign for Benfica
Yep.
from the youth team of PAOK. So I mean, he's kind of slid down the pecking order. I know that his form hasn't been great this season, and I know that you think that he's probably done,
Yep.
past his best. So Varela could be one. They've already let Kagawa go. There's rumours also that Rodrigo might go because we have too many foreigners in terms of if we want to bring non-EU players into the team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Rodrigo and Varela, City as well. There's been rumours, clubs from the Middle East are interested in him. So maybe a few of those guys are more interested in who we bring in. So I think that we definitely need a right back.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean Taylor has been okay. He's good in attack, but I don't think against better teams, derbies, European games, he's really cut out. So I definitely think a right back. I'd love a goalkeeper. I don't know if we're going to get one in January.
How long have we been saying that? We've been saying that for months.
Yeah, I mean since we started, really.
Yeah.
So Pascalakis, does what he can. He's, we've said it before. He can have his 10 out of 10 games, but he can also have his 5 and 4 out of 10 games. And his inconsistency and his error prone. So it makes it hard to kind of, sustain any type of run towards anything, be it Europe or League, with an erratic goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love a keeper, a right back. I think we need a striker as well. And I think we do need a striker. I think I know Akbom scored in the last couple games, but he's just not a natural scorer. Swiderski, I've never been a massive fan of. He has improved, in my opinion, this season, but we just don't get enough goals out of our strikers. So the interesting one, and this is a question without notice, Solak's is coming back from loan, and he's had a great season in Sweden.
Yeah.
Do you think that Lutsescu will, look at him or give him a chance? I think he wants to stay in Sweden by all reports, but I don't think they're meeting our asking price. So there's a chance that he could be around. I mean, is that a potential avenue?
I'd be fine with it. I don't think that we would, though. I think that now, unless we get rid of Swiderski, I know that there was, especially at the beginning of the year, some rumors that this would be his last year. He had a somewhat successful international spell recently. So I could see if they get rid of him, then I think Akbam will be the starter with Cholak as coming off the bench. But if that's three center forwards, that'd be tough to keep. So maybe we look back to loan him. Maybe we'll lower our asking price. But yeah, I think you touched on a lot of the positions. Right back, I think is huge. I know you like our left back options. Then Lirazis has looked decent, in the last couple games, and he had so much potential too coming up, and he kind of got down the pecking order. But it's nice to see him getting some opportunities. Same thing with Tsingaras, who's looked decent in the last couple of games. I think our midfield is fine. The center mids, Schwab, Kurtic. If we bring in someone else or Tsingaras, Augusto. Sometimes El Kaduri can play there as well. I would love to see another wing, another natural winger, not Biseswar out there. I mean, he had a horrible game today, or at least in my opinion. He had a couple turnovers that led to goals. And to be frank, I know he's the player in big games that can kind of slow down the play, draw fouls, professional player. But I think we've touched on it too. When you're playing teams that kind of sit more back, he's not really going to break it down. He had a great start to the season. Don't get me wrong, but I think now he's starting to come back to what his level is at, especially at this age. But I think having another just a natural winger, Jaba's coming back, right?
Yeah, he's touchdown in Saloniki a few days ago.
Right. So maybe someone like that. Yeah, I've always liked him. I think that his speed is an asset, especially against teams that maybe we could get behind. Get behind their defense and play over the top through balls to be able to get to him down the flanks. But Zivkovic, he's done really well having him on one side, maybe another natural winger. Merg, I think he's more of an option off the bench to give someone a spell, or whether it be in the 70th minute or for a full game. I just don't think he's a consistent starter for where we want to be. So I mean, I think there's a lot of positions. You can even look at center back. We need to get younger. We just have a lot of age defensively, so we could get a young up and coming center back. Supposedly we're going to spend money, so we'll wait and see what happens, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a whole bunch of positions that we need to upgrade and improve on. Probably can't all be done in January, but if we're talking about this as a rebuilding season in terms of we need to start to turn over the older guys and bring in players that are going to be part of our next title challenge, into next season and then the season beyond, then it probably should start in January if possible, so just start to bring in a couple of players. But yeah, I mean, there is rumours that we're spending money, and we have had some success in the winter transfer window. I know there's always the thought process that it is harder to get quality players in January, but we've had some success. I mean, Prigovic is the obvious one that we bought in during the winter transfer window, and he was obviously a great player for us. So
right, and then one more question. I'm kind of gonna just bring this up randomly. We haven't talked about today. I just thought of it before we head off. What would it take for you to say that we've had a successful season? Looking at for the second half of the year, either positionally in the domestic league, European wise, whatever it is, cup wise, for us to be or to finally say that we had a good season. What would need to happen, and then what would be a failure of a season?
So for a good season, I think it's come top three. Because
right, realistically, right? Yeah, we're not going to say win the title, right? So realistically, that could happen.
I mean, that would be amazing if you could overturn a 13-point lead. And
good luck
against a team that is yet to lose a game. So that would require them to start dropping games. So as in Olympiacos, that is, yeah. But no, coming top three, because I think fourth making Europe is dependent on the cup situation.
Mm-hmm.
So top three guarantees you Europe next season. And like a European run, like Midtjylland is tricky. Like I said earlier, I think they are favourites, but a run in Europe, I think, would really would scratch that itch of the fans and say, yeah, we've had a good season. Yes, the league season wasn't successful, but we went on a run in Europe and we got out of the group. We got past Midtjylland, and then who knows beyond that. So for me, it's that. Excuse me. So I'd love to see that. The cup, I mean, it would be. I mean, it's silverware. It is a trophy. I'm not going to be angry if we win it, but I mean, obviously, but I'm not too hung up on the cup. For me, it's top three, and yeah, and knocking out Midland, going on a run. Um, in terms of what would be unsuccessful, I mean, sliding any lower than third. If we get knocked out by Midland, I'm not going to be like, it's not the end of the
Right.
world. I think
Yep.
they are a good team, but I think sliding any lower than third on the table would be disappointing. So for me, that wouldn't be a great season, but I don't think that will happen. I'm relatively confident, not 100%, that we will come top three. Do you agree with that, or do you have a different view?
I think I agree with everything. I think top three would be successful at depending on or considering where we are now. Um,
Yeah,
I think getting out into this the round of 32 into the round of 16 would be successful. Anything else I think would just be a cherry on top, right? And just bonus, getting more money from defeating the from moving up the ladder as well. So and then I would say, yeah, a failure, a horrible second half would be dropping out of the European spaces. I think that's, what happens in Europe now really doesn't matter in terms of, failing or succeeding. I think dropping out of a European position for next year um, would kind of make this a disaster season, right? I
yeah,
can't even remember the last time we didn't make Europe. So I think that that would be pretty much horrible a season to forget, and I could see there be massive, massive overhaul changes from players to staff if that does happen. But I agree with you. I don't think it'll happen. We have to wait and see too. I'm sure we'll have a recording after the January transfer window to see who we get. Maybe we'll be able to change our predictions or change our expectations based off of who we got. But I think we touched upon that pretty well. Anything else you want to add on?
no, man. I just wanted to go back on something you said that I agree. Like we're talking about, given where we are now, like coming third would be good, or coming in the top three is the minimum.
Right,
Like we don't mean that. Like when the season started, that was like a non-negotiable
right,
that we'd be top three, and we were cautiously optimistic. I think you always are under some of hopefully competing for the title. So yeah,
hmm
it's not what we expect every season, but just the way the season's gone, where we are at the mid-season point, you're like, yeah, want to qualify for Europe and want to progress in the Conference League. So that's
right.
where we're at given the current circumstances.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Stay tuned. I know we're active on Instagram, we're active on Twitter, so reach out to us there. Same name, PaokTalk. Like, comment, subscribe. It's a nice little outlet. It's a nice little avenue for Pauk fans to talk to each other and hear some English news podcasts on Pauk. So hope you all have a great holiday season. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys soon.